Hi everyone, welcome to another Linfield Coaches CatChat. Joe Stuart here with head men's soccer coach Andy Duvall. Coach, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, Joe. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing great, and partially because we are just a few days away from the start of full varsity counting action here in McMinnville, and that starts with you guys going down to Bushnell on Friday night, home openers on Monday night. But just tell us about how things have been going this summer and how the guys have been doing in training. I know you've got a couple friendlies under the belt here over these last couple of weeks as well. Where do you feel the team is going into the start of the year?
Yeah, it was really fun because we got to start in a different place than we ever have in the fall. We had such a good spring. The spring was really important for us. We had 30 guys in camp in the spring that were returning, and so we had a really established group that we got to work with all spring long. And with the changes that the NCAA made, which gave us 24 dates instead of 16, we got 8 extra practices, and then we went to Spain last spring, so we got some extra work there, some extra matches, and so that group really was able to progress further than what we would have anticipated in the spring. So coming back in the fall, we were able to pick up at a point where we were just further along than we have been in the past in coming in the falls because of such a good spring. So we're really happy with where we're at right now as a team in our progression of being able to try and implement a game model that we know is effective for us and bringing new guys up to speed quicker than we have before, just because the returning guys are able to do it as much as the coaching staff is.
It's hard to believe, but we're already in your 5th year. This is going to be your 5th year of running the Linfield men's soccer program, and you mentioned progression. That's been the story all the way through. When you took it over in the cellar, you guys have been clawing your way back up the table standings. But just where would you say the program is right now, just in terms of continuity and attitude and competitiveness?
Yeah, I mean, we're still getting better every day, every week, every month, and I think the big issues for us going into last year were we going to be able to maintain a certain standard of training, a standard of expectation, and it came in fits and spurts last year. We had some really good periods last fall, and then we had some periods where we struggled a little bit, and that came down to moments where we were really disciplined and had a very high standard for ourselves where we saw success from it, and then moments where we probably got a little too excited about the good moments that we had, got ahead of ourselves, and then ended up having some times where we weren't that excited about the results that we got. And so this year, it is the word that keeps coming up amongst the guys is consistency. Right? And so it's about their daily habits, it's about their training habits, it's about the effort and the attitude that they bring to both the training environment, the weight room, match environment, team meetings, film analysis, everything. They know that there isn't a part of being a student athlete that they can't give full commitment to. And that was one of the things that they talked about last spring as a group was you're either committed or you're not. There is no 50% committed, there's no 60% committed. You're either all the way in or you're not. And the consistency is going to come from having that full commitment. And so as coming into my 5th year now, I can tell you that throughout the last, whatever it's been, 12 days that we've had here, from a coaching perspective, it has been, from a management perspective, it's been the easiest preseason that I've had here by far, because our older players have been so outstanding at holding a high standard for themselves and for everybody else underneath them. And that standard has been something that they've been able to stick to throughout the early period of this preseason. So from a management perspective, I've had nothing to do except just coach the guys, which has been brilliant, and our assistant coach, Alex Ponce, doing the same. And so we feel like for the first time in the 5 years that I've been here, that we really have a standard that everybody's accepted and grown accustomed to and been able to implement on a day-to-day basis.
Great to hear, and you mentioned the great group of returners. I want to touch on those guys in a little bit, but they saw a 5-12-3 year last year, but all 5 of those wins in conference for a 5-9-2 record, and really just a couple of tight losses or draws away from really being in the heart of the Northwest Conference table. Also in the middle of the pack, both in goals for and goals against. Where do you want to see the kind of tactical improvements this year, now that you are really getting to focus on coaching and making sure that all 11 guys on the field are able to execute game plans? What kind of things do you want to see tactically on the field execution-wise?
Yeah, I mean, I think the stats are an easy way to look at it. And so last year, we had the best statistical year that we've had. We conceded 40 goals, which was 2 goals a game, I think is what it worked out to over 20 matches. And then we scored 30 goals, which was a goal and a half. So we basically, we're half a goal out of every game if you break it down to a game-by-game basis. And that was significantly better than any of the recent years that Linfield men's soccer has played, but it's still that half goal. And so it's those tiny little margins, those small moments in a game that make all the difference when you're trying to win a game that could be 2-1 in your favor versus 2-1 in the opponent's favor. And so again, it comes back to the standards and the discipline that this group has in being able to sustain those standards and discipline for long periods of time, creating that consistency. And so for us, what we're looking for this year is to flip the goals against into a much more favorable amount for us. So, we don't have a number in mind, but we know we need to diminish that 40 goals against and the 2 goals per game all the way down to, maybe 1 goal per game kind of thing. And that may mean in some games we win 4-3, but other games we win 1-0, and we get all those goals against down a bit. And in terms of goals scored, we're on our way with that. We do need to, of course, continue to try and create more opportunities to score goals, but from last spring to now, we've seen our goals scored go up quite a bit throughout the matches we played in the spring and then the first couple exhibitions we've played here in the fall. We know we're going to be able to put the ball in the back of the net, which is obviously the hardest thing in the game to do, but those are the 2 key areas that we're really trying to focus on in order to win. Is can we be organized and disciplined enough defensively to be able to keep the ball out of the back of our own net with the right level of execution in that area of the game, and then be skilled enough, creative enough, and smart enough in the attacking side of the game to put the ball in the back of the net better.
And all of that, of course, can lead to wins stacking on each other, losing streaks being diminished. And we did see a lot of that last year. It was a lot of wins came in bunches. Unfortunately, so did the losses.
Right.
And, we don't necessarily talk about that maybe as much as soccer as we do the other sports that, focus on streakiness, basketball, baseball. But the mental side of that, how does the team adjust to when you're going into a season like this, after the season you had last year, to not let themselves get too ahead of themselves when stacking together a couple of wins and not getting too down on themselves when there's a few losses in a row?
Yeah, it's just about continuing to work at what you know is going to help you get results. You can work as hard as you can and as smart as you can sometimes and still be beaten. And if you panic and you change because you lose a match, then you probably end up making changes that may end up hurting you in the end. And so for us, it's about, again, consistency, trying to remain consistent in our mindset, consistent in our work rate. Good result, keep working. Bad result, keep working. Neutral result, keep working. Don't change a whole lot. Continue to trust in what it is that you know has established you to have a good progression in your growth, and watch it continue to grow. So for us, this year, are we going to have a match or two where we may end up not having a result that we want? Yeah, but we don't want to change too much from game to game, knowing that what's helped us continue to get better is what we need to stick to. And so I think those results from last year, the guys have looked back on that many times where they lost 2, 3, 4 games in a row after winning 2 or 3 games in a row. And they know most of it came down to just their mindset. They ended up kind of taking their foot off the gas pedal a little bit and maybe letting their standards dip a little bit because they were feeling pretty good about themselves. And I think when you're going from being a program that was regularly at the bottom of the conference table trying to claw your way up like we are, it's easy to get excited. It's easy to get excited when you're having fun, no matter what anybody tells you. If you win 2 games in a row and coach says, all right, guys, look, we got to maintain, some composure with what we're doing. They're 18 to 22-year-old kids. They're going to get excited that things are going their way. And so maintaining an even keel is going to be important for them. And they know that better now because of the year that they had last year. And honestly, we hear it in training all the time now. When we're playing in games, playing in training, and guys are playing games and somebody's really on top of another team in a training session, the winning team will say, hey, don't change what we're doing, keep working, it's working, right? And then the losing team will say, don't change what we're doing, we just got to get 1 goal back at a time, 1 goal at a time, So they understand what they need to be doing now in order to try and continue to work towards being overall more consistent.
A really great group of returners this year, a bunch of rising sophomores, juniors, and seniors that now have a lot of legitimate college soccer experience. And of course, you're led by 3 fifth-year seniors that have come back. Of course, the defender and longtime captain now, Angel Hernandez, the guy that's been the key piece of the offensive development in Sid Caceres, and a guy who's played as many minutes as anybody these last couple of years in Patrick Mose. So with those 3 guys leading the way, how does that change things comparative to the last couple of years, which is having 3 dudes who are so experienced and accomplished and confident and understand the goals and the character of this program?
Yeah, I think it's important that they're there because they're respected. And that's really where the majority of the help that they give to the guys comes from, is the respect that they garner through their actions and what it is that they do on a daily basis. So you mentioned, yeah, Sid and Angel both have they've been, I think, second team all-conference players and gotten some acclaim from other coaches in the conference because of their ability on the field. But equal to that for us as a program is what they do off the field with the guys. You know, sometimes it's important that they put their arm around somebody that's having a rough day and be able to say, you know what, I've been there too, and you're going to get over it. It's okay. Let's keep working past it, you know. Or maybe sometimes they got to put their foot up somebody's butt and say, you know, I mean, you're not doing what needs to be done in order to help this program get better, in order to help you get better. So having guys that have earned respect, that have been able to demonstrate on a daily basis that they're committed to the overall group and not just their own individual efforts, be able to say those things to not just the younger guys, but also a current senior and a current junior who've been with them for 2-3 years. It's important that you have that in a program. And as you indicated, we really haven't had it in large numbers over my first 4 years here. And now you mentioned Angel, Sid, and Patty, but we've also got a group of true seniors that are doing a brilliant job of continuing to lead as well. And all those guys being here, coming into their 4th year now, have helped really make sure that everybody in the program understands that this is a group goal. You have individual things that you want to accomplish, yes, but we're all in this together, and we've got to make sure that we hold each other accountable to getting everything right on every moment of the day. And so Angel, Sid, and Patty are a big part of it, but I don't want to discount what the current 4-year seniors are doing to help with that as well.
It's going to be an exciting start to the year. Got a couple of NAI teams on the schedule to open it up. Going to be down at Bushnell on Friday night. Home opener against Warner Pacific on Monday before you guys jet across the country for a couple of matches out in Virginia. That'll be a fun trip. But as you guys get the season going here, you think back to last year. You started with that kind of exhilarating non-conference draw against Augsburg and then lost 4 in a row. What do you want to see to set an early tone for this program and really establish some confidence for the 2024 season over these first couple of matches?
Yeah, consistent results. Consistent results. That's what we want to see. I mean, the team was so excited about that Augsburg result last year that they kind of forgot what they did in order to earn that. And so the 4 games that came after that were just eye-opening, you know. And it was a good reminder that everything that they'd done to play well against Augsburg and earn that result, they'd kind of forgotten about, because they thought, oh, well, we've done this and now we're there. We're at this level now, so we're not going to drop. Well, you do drop if you don't consistently do what's right in order to help you get better and stay at a good level. So they climbed out of that a few times last year, but then fell back into some poor results and some poor run of play. But for this preseason, it is about consistent results. So coming into Bushnell, it's about having a really good match against Bushnell and doing everything we can to get a strong result against them, and then not forgetting what it's taken to get that result and take that into Monday against Warner Pacific and just keep it rolling from there. But again, I mean, I think a lot of coaches are going to say the same thing. It's one game at a time, you know. And I think sometimes when you're trying to, this is my first experience really working with a program that needs to climb as high as Linfield has tried to climb here, coming from the position that we were in. But I imagine it's mostly just about making sure that the guys are staying focused on only the next task and not getting ahead of themselves too far. And we've tried to put that in their minds as much as we possibly can as a coaching staff. And Angel, Sid, Patty, the rest of the seniors that are true 4-year seniors, they remind the guys of that every day. It's this training session today is the most important thing that we have going on. It's not actually the game that's coming up. It's the session that we have today. And you focus on that one piece and then move forward from there.
Well, I think we're all really excited to see what's in store for you guys this year and hoping to see a lot more growth for the program overall.
Awesome.
Wildcats start the season Friday night down in Eugene at Bushnell, 6 o'clock. Home opener on Monday, September 2nd. Against Warner Pacific at 4:30. We'll, of course, have live coverage of that on the Linfield Sports Network, as we will for every home match all season long. Coach, thanks for the time, and good luck this season.
Thank you, Joe.